What's up, everyone? The Arid Lord is back. Welcome to the Walking Dead review vlogs. Season 10 will just not go away. The extended episodes are here. We're starting with episode 17, Home Sweet Home. I don't think there's ever been an episode 17 for The Walking Dead, ever, because normally the show runs to a 16 limit. Seasons 1 through 9 have followed this formula, and I guess with double digits, but also the problematic issues of the pandemic have made some changes to the whole Walking Dead schedule. Now, I guess this is a question I'll pose just at the beginning of this vlog. Do you guys think that they would have made these extra episodes if it had not been for like the pandemic? Like, let's say they were able to film all of their episodes on a normal pace. Episode like the season 10 finale would have aired back in April of last year. We wouldn't have had to have waited months for it. The fall, maybe that's what would have happened. The fall would have had these bonus episodes, and then maybe we would have got some season 11 stuff that like now, like during the spring of 2021. I'm not sure. We can't really play revisionist history, but I'm just interested because this seems obviously a continuation of the events where we left off in the finale, and I'm just wondering, like, would season 11 have just jumped right in? Would they have wanted to do some of this meandering, dealing with some of the groups that we're dealing with right now? But I guess we'll just get into the review. No reactions this time around. I'm going to just stick to doing some reviews for you guys. Just keep it simple. Now that I've kind of, hit the 10-year anniversary on my channel, just wanted to take it at my own pace. If I'm feeling it, I'm feeling it, and I'll let you know if I do. So this episode, the description: Maggie returns to the dismay of Negan. The trials she endured since leaving have made her harder in order to find her and her son to survive. Daryl and Maggie unexpectedly fight an unseen and unknown threat. So, this episode, yes, Maggie returns, and, one thing I really liked about this episode, I really liked the conversation that Maggie and Daryl have in the boxcar. They go, basically, this is pretty much right after the Whispers are defeated, when Maggie comes and saves them. They're just gathering supplies. They're returning back to Alexandria. And so they split off the group, and there's like a safe house or something that Maggie was using as like a rendezvous point so that she could leave her group so she could go help, back in the the season 10 finale to finish off the Whispers in that tower. And so there's a really long conversation that Daryl and Maggie have, and it's really what, like, I didn't realize how interested I was until I heard the conversation where Daryl's like, so where the hell have you been? Because this has been a question for like a year and a half. Because if you guys remember, Maggie left the show at the same time that Rick was ferried off in the helicopter to the CRM. So she was gone as well. And this is like, holy shit. It kind of dawned on me. I was like, a year and a half later, we're finally fucking getting answers as to where Maggie was and what she was doing. Now, we knew she was with, like, Georgie trying to, like, help communities and stuff, but what we didn't know was that it kind of was a failure. And that they were able to help some people, but, it's the apocalypse and not everyone wants being saved. And then Georgie went off and they heard about some community out west, and then they went there. I'm not sure. Like, in my opinion, it kind of seems like a strategy to write off her character. I mean, she appeared in that one episode in season 8. It was so very obscure because it was the same episode where Rick and Negan have that big face-off in that building where there's flaming Lucille, which is it's one of my favorite episodes of the All Out War arc because literally it's Rick and Negan. It's kind of like their showdown fight. because the final fight between them in the season 8 finale was kind of pathetic. It was not. It was just a little bit of tussling, and that was it. But this was really their actual kind of final fight. But then cut between the episode was Maggie meeting Georgie, and it just seemed so absolutely out of freaking nowhere. And I'm thinking that Gimple did that at the time because he knew Maggie was going to leave. I'm not sure how far he knew, but he set that plot point, kind of planted the seeds of it, which seemed like a cop-out. Like, the CRM stuff, like, that makes sense, There's been a lot of Easter eggs to that. The Junkyard Group had a major part in All Out War, and to see, what they were dealing with, the secrets, Jadis, and all that stuff. Still a lot of questions to be answered in that realm. But anyway, yeah, it was a really nice conversation to have, getting reacquainted with Maggie's character, and then Daryl just kind of pressing her on, basically like, because you have to think for Daryl, I mean, he was just like, I didn't know if I was going to see you. The messages just stopped coming, and I just didn't know if you were going to ever pick up. And it's cool that she didn't just leave to leave, because originally I was like, oh, she just left to freaking join Georgie's circus, and that Lauren Cohan wanted some distance from the show. But the answer was logical, that she needed some space from Negan. She almost killed him in that episode where, her final episode of season 9, and also Rick's, when she almost kills him, but decides to spare him. So I think just being in the same space was just not working for her. So we have that, and then Kelly is also very prominent in this episode. We get the name of the guy with the mask. There's two soldiers. So there's a guy who just, he's almost like, I don't know his name, but he's like the pessimist of Maggie's team. And then we have Elijah, who, this is the name of the guy with the mask and those dual sickles. So I know when he was first introduced in that, I mean, the preview to the season 10 finale that we got in fucking April, and then we didn't get the episode until October, which was just, so crazy. And I remember there was a lot of speculation over that summer, of last year, like, who the hell is this dude with the fucking mask and the sickles? And so it's a new character named Elijah. He actually takes the mask off in this episode. I guess Maggie reveals that he lost his sister, and we know that Kelly is still looking for Connie, so they share that connection with each other. They do seem to make a little bit of a bond there. Kelly running off trying to find Connie, so, still some unfinished business there. We didn't see her in this episode. Obviously, we know she was taken by Virgil in the season 10, finale. I'm going to keep calling it that. These are just kind of like the bonus episodes as they've referred them to. So there's that, and for Kelly's character, I could definitely understand the plight that she's kind of going through, right? And her character, like, again, I was realizing, like, Maggie hasn't had any character moments with Kelly or anyone from that group, because I was trying to remember. I was like, has Maggie met them? I was like, oh no, wait a minute, it's Michonne that found them back in those early episodes of season 9, right after Rick left. So I had to remind myself of that. There is the other part of this episode, which is kind of like the main part, is this new group, this new adversary group called the Reapers. Very, I mean, listen, we've had a lot of Marauder groups. We had, Joe and the Claimers. Obviously, the Saviors was the biggest group of thugs the show has ever seen. The Whisperers really weren't. They were more, like cavemen, savages. They were a very unique kind of villain, because they lived amongst the walkers and had the walkers as shields and the skin and everything you already know. But yeah, the Reaper, I mean, there was only one guy in this episode. He's a sniper taking out some of Maggie's people. He burns down the structure, and she's freaking out because she doesn't know where Herschel Jr. is. And I mean, this guy, like, he survives like a couple arrows, and I felt like I felt like Daryl and Maggie were fighting a video game boss. Like, this guy's absorbing like arrows and stuff. He gets stabbed. He just keeps coming towards her. I'm like, what the hell? Um, and then this guy blows himself up in a pretty morbid, like, yeah, freaking flesh and blood just flies out of this guy. I was like, oh my. I mean, again, like freaking Greg Nicotero, right? Just like the blood and guts department, just to the max. There was another scene where Maggie and Daryl are trying to like close one of the box cars, and they're slamming it on this walker, and they just like crack his skull, and just like just like it explodes like a watermelon. It was funny. So I was like, oh, yeah, they probably were waiting to do this. When was the last time they filmed an episode? And they're like, holy shit, back on set, and let's get the gore up. Let's get back into what makes the Walking Dead the Walking Dead. So I totally get that. But I guess to go back to the Reapers, I don't know what they're planning on doing with this group. Like, it's only going to be for these back 6 episodes. I can almost guarantee you that. There's absolutely no way this freaking Reaper group is going to, spill over into Season 11. Season 11 will be totally and completely dedicated to the Commonwealth. It's unfortunate because they're really only going to get... Now, I know there's 24 episodes in Season 11, as we learned last year, but they're really only going to get a season and a half of the Commonwealth, and they're the last big group of the comics. And, for the Whisperers, how many seasons of them did you have? They came in, episode 6 of Season 9, and then they left in the Season 10 finale, so I guess just about a season and a half, I suppose. I guess it's kind of the same length. So I'd say maybe the Commonwealth is just about there too. I mean, they have a lot of casting to do. That's going to be a separate vlog maybe I'll make if I want to stay consistent. But when the heck are we going to see casting for some of the Lance and Mercer and Pamela and Sebastian, if they go, I don't know what route they're gonna go with the Commonwealth, but like what character, like that's the thing. Like, are they gonna cast all the mains of the Commonwealth? I think Stephanie, the girl that Eugene's been talking to over the radio, I think she's already cast. Because they've been, she's been talking with her voice, and so I think the voice actress, I followed her on Twitter, and it seems like her character kind of looks like Stephanie once you do meet her in the comics. So I was like, all right, I guess they got that casting, but I just haven't seen much casting news for the Commonwealth people, and that's really like the last casting. Because I remember I followed the casting pretty closely for Alpha and the Whispers. Obviously, Negan was a huge one years and years ago. So yeah, the Commonwealth is the last leg of casting that The Walking Dead really's got to do. And I'll be looking forward to seeing who they do. But, not to get off topic, but the Reapers, what the heck? I mean, what do you guys think of the Reapers? I mean, it's got to be more than just one guy in a ghillie suit shooting people with a sniper. What's their deal? This is a group that followed Maggie throughout her adventures. Wherever the hell she was, this group kind of tracked her, even though they said they were being careful. I don't know. And then we, for the next episodes, the preview, is it related to anything that Daryl and Carol are doing? I'm not too sure, because again, you only have a few episodes to work with, and there were a lot of characters that we didn't see in this episode. It was kind of a bottle episode. We didn't get to see Father Gabriel. We didn't get to see Aaron. Though, Negan was in it, but he was just kind of more just kind of in the background as Maggie gave him the daggers. And I know there's bottle episodes for Father Gabriel and Aaron specifically that's in this list of 6 episodes. But I know the last episode is one completely dedicated to Negan. Obviously, here's Negan. That's probably the one I'm going to be looking forward to the most, but it's the finale, so that's end of March, April-ish time when we'll get that. So but yeah, I'm just fortunate to have some freaking Walking Dead to consume. And And yeah, I mean, so this was, I mean, it was a solid episode back. I mean, like, there was creative ways, with the blood and guts. I really like that elongated conversation between Maggie and Daryl. We get to see Herschel Jr., who is the same age as Judith, as they were kind of born around the same time ish, sort of, I guess. I guess Judith would be like a year or 2 years older than Herschel Jr. Um, yeah. So Herschel Jr. walking about. That's cool. We got a new character, and I'm not sure the actor that plays him. I know I met Kaylee Fleming, who at Walker Stalker a couple years ago, who plays Judith. So I don't know if this is like just a random kid they got, or if this is like a known actor, kid actor. I'm not sure. But I guess I'll have to look into that. I didn't really follow the casting for any of that. But yeah, I mean, solid episode. It had some action scenes. They leave the Negan thing lingering. They're not gonna deal with it until Here's Negan. I'm probably gonna do like a prediction vlog for that because I have some thoughts about that possibly being. I mean, that could very well possibly be Negan's final episode and Jeffrey Dean Morgan's final episode of The Walking Dead because Negan is not a part of the Commonwealth arc. And if they wanted to follow the route of the comics, they could use Here's Negan as an opportunity to kind of write his character off, not have him be part of the Commonwealth stuff, and then, the Commonwealth stuff happens without him like it does in the comics. Now, I disagree. I didn't think... maybe his presence is too distracting, but I personally think he should. And again, like, you don't have many main characters left. I mean, I know Maggie just came back, but you don't have many left. So, like, why aren't... I don't know. I think it would be a mistake. I mean, you only have one more season. Just freaking have him be there for the Commonwealth crap. Like, I don't know why you wouldn't. Because, he was an ex-leader of, obviously, a very successful group in the Saviors. And you saw how, awesome it was to have the crossover with the Whisperers. Obviously, but that was in the comics. But I don't see why it can't be done here. But again, I wouldn't be surprised. It's either going to be, Maggie killing him, or he's just going to freaking say that, the group, him staying there is going to create too much problems. So he's just going to walk off into the sunset, which is exactly how his fate ends in the comics. Obviously, there's Here's Negan, which was the bonus comic that came out last year to kind of help comic book stores during the pandemic. And that talks about his new goal to find his wife's remnant. And then there's, he bumps into some marauders and a girl that's being used. And, I mean, like, I don't know. Sky's the limit. I mean, he's one of the most unique characters, if not the most unique character in The Walking Dead, both comic and show version, and Jeffrey D. Morgan plays the character to perfection. I mean, this is a mild Negan, though, because he's like, he's trying to help out and stuff and whatnot, so it's very different from the bat-swinging Negan of season 7 and 8 that we were kind of used to in the past. I pretty much just turned this into like a freaking Negan discussion, but overall, I'll give this episode a 9 out of 10. Again, it's solid comeback. A lot of loose ends wrapped up. I mean, they did a good job of bridging from the finale into this episode, addressing some lingering things. Obviously, like the destruction of the hilltop, that's confirmed. Catching up with Maggie, where's she at? Now we get these freaking Reapers. Are there more out there after that guy blew himself up? We'll have to see. Herschel Jr., great addition. Cool to go into a little bit of Kelly's story. We got to see Elijah, and maybe we'll get more of his story as we go forth. But yeah, that's about it. And again, I'll be doing these review vlogs for all of the bonus episodes as they come out concurrently, week after week. So there's 5 more because there's 6 total. And whether I do... I'm thinking of doing a reaction video to the Here's Negan, like the final of these bonus episodes, which could very well be the end of Negan in the show in general. Me being a huge fan of his, I think maybe, I don't know, I'll mull it around in my head if I want to do it. It's just because, again, it runs into copyright problems, obviously, is one. And two, I just, again, after being on YouTube for 10 years, I'm just trying to do different stuff with the channel. One of those things you saw the other day, if you follow me and subscribe to me, was the retrospective event where I watched my first video. I will be making more of those. So that and then these review vlogs is really the only content that I can promise thus far. But with the pandemic still kind of going on, I mean, I know vaccines have come out, but most people are still in a freaking work from home environment, slowly going crazy by the minute. So I feel like why not jump into the content here? Because, and there are the people like Jeff and some of the other people from the Walking Dead community that I've collaborated with and talked to in the past. They're still very much connected to this community. And, I should ride this out. I'm definitely still watching The Walking Dead. I'll watch it all the way to the end of its 11th season to, cap off the show and hopefully freaking watch the Rick Grimes movies whenever the hell those come out. I had planned to watch Fear the Walking Dead season 6. I mean, people were talking positively of it. I'm not too sure if I will or not. So, if I have extra time, I will. So, all right, guys. Glad I could make this. Thanks. Yeah, I guess I'll see you later for some more great content. Peace out.